There's a reason Halloween feels different from every other night of the year. It isn't just the costumes or the porch lights or the plastic bones in cheap grass. It's the way normal places decide to act strange. Streets you drive every day get longer. Windows you've never noticed seem to watch back. And the air smells like cold leaves and burnt sugar. People say it's all make-believe. But you can dress something up as a joke and still feel the joke looking back at you. You can tell yourself it's pretend and still lock the door twice. These are 5 nights that began in laughter and ended in silence. 5 confessions from people who can't stop seeing the dark behind the lights. Welcome back to the Vile Echoes. Our street was harmless, a neat little loop of ranch houses that overachieved at Halloween. Webs draped over hedges, plastic bones in mulch beds, orange extension cords like vines. At the very end sat the Welch house, which hadn't been lived in since I was a kid. No cars, back windows boarded. The porch light had been dead for years, like an eye that forgot how to open. When I was 16, Halloween fell on a Saturday. By 10:30, the little kids were down. The teens were daring each other to ring doorbells of people they didn't know. And the block smelled like fog juice and sugar. That's when I saw it. A yellow glow at the end of the street where nothing should glow. The Welch porch light was on. It wasn't festive, it was steady. Nursing home yellow, not pumpkin orange. And it didn't spill onto the railing or the steps. It looked contained, like a coin balanced on its edge. "Meal house," my brother said, tugging my sleeve. They finally did something with it. But the driveway was empty. No black light skeletons. No Bluetooth speaker wheezing Monster Mash. The front door stood open a finger width. The smell that slid out wasn't mildew. It was warm, like someone had just blown out a match. Later, close to midnight when most houses had gone dark, knocking started. Not ringing, knocking. It moved down the cul-de-sac 1 house at a time. 5 knocks 10 seconds apart, then silence. Then 5 knocks at the next place. I pressed my forehead to the glass and listened to my heartbeat speed up as the sound walked toward us. When it reached our door, my brother peeped through the hole. "Costume," he whispered. Tall, no mask. His voice had the confused edge kids get when their brain can't label something fast enough. We didn't open. The knocking moved on. 10 minutes later, my mom yelled down the hall. Why was our porch light on? I flicked the switch inside. Nothing changed. Our bulb glowed the same dull yellow as the Welch porch. I flicked again. Still yellow. Still steady. Still wrong. By morning, both lights were off. On the Welch steps, a ceramic bowl with blue flowers, half full of candy corn stuck together with dew. A folded scrap of paper beneath it. Take one. The door was shut. The smell of blown-out match was gone. I knocked once. The door swung an inch and stopped on its own, like a held breath. That should have been a one-off story. But the light returned the next Halloween. And the next. Always the same color. Always the same bowl and note. Always. No sign of anyone living there. When I was 19, I moved away. Years later, I came back in July to help my mom after surgery. And, just before bed, I glanced down the street like a habit. The Welch porch glowed that same impossible yellow in the dead middle of summer. I walked down in bare feet, felt the grit of the pavement, and watched the light steady itself the closer I got, like it sensed me. When I reached the bottom step, it clicked off. I stood waiting for the afterimage to fade. It didn't. Instead, the house exhaled a hint of warm smoke, and I understood the part no one says out loud. Lights mean welcome until they mean remember. Every Halloween, a couple of kids swear they took candy there. They always describe the taste the same way. Like dust and something recently on fire. Their parents shake their heads and say it was probably stale. Maybe. Or maybe the house is on its own calendar, marking one night a year for a ritual that kept going even after everyone who knew why moved away. Halloween teaches you what things mean. Lights mean candy. Knocks mean laughter. But one night the meanings shift, and you realize you were never the one who decided what they meant. City rooftop. Plastic cups. Someone's Bluetooth speaker losing the battle against the wind. The invite said, "Masks encouraged." And most people obeyed. Skulls, cheap vampires, a couple of last-minute bedsheet ghosts. I went because my apartment felt too quiet, and being lonely in a crowd felt better than being lonely in my kitchen. He stood by the door to the stairwell the entire time. Gray suit, black gloves, smooth, full-face mask with erased features. No drink, no small talk. He could have been hired to keep the door from escaping. When people squeezed past, he tilted his head a few degrees and then returned to neutral, like resetting a level. I clocked him, filed him under try hard, and moved on. Around 11, I ducked downstairs to the fourth-floor bathroom because the line on the roof was hopeless. When I pushed back up through the fire door, I almost plowed into him. He was exactly where I'd left him, but somehow also a half step closer. I laughed a little and said, "Sorry, man," because politeness holds even when your neck prickles. I set my cup down, decided to go home, and headed for the stairs. His shoes began to move the same instant mine did. One step behind, same cadence. No audible breath. Halfway down, I pulled aside to let two girls pass. He mirrored me precisely, giving them space. Face turned toward the wall like someone pretending not to stare. I said, "You with Kyle, the host?" Because that's how you pop a bubble if there's a person inside it. He tipped his head, considering the question like a foreign object, then tipped it back. When the stairwell turned, I gambled and pushed the door open to the roof again, just to not be in that narrow space with him while he answered questions with angles. The door swung inward. He was there, already, on the roof side. Same suit, same gloves, eye slits pointed my way. I spun, ready to face the one who'd been behind me. Empty stairs. Back on the roof, the crowd had thinned. The host was taking selfies with someone in a devil mask. I planted myself in a plastic chair because sitting felt like choosing something. The gray suit man took the chair beside mine without asking. He didn't turn toward me. He turned toward where I had been a minute earlier. He placed his gloves on his knees. We sat like that, two people pretending the city wasn't humming under us. "Cool mask," I said, because silence is worse. His head drifted a fraction. He lifted a hand halfway to his face and then let it drop. The gesture felt like he'd been practicing but hadn't decided what comes next. Close to midnight, the building across the alley flashed a bedroom light on and off. The code neighbors use for "kill the music." People laughed, apologized, started collecting empties. I stood. He stood. I walked. He walked. On the second floor landing, I stopped and took out my phone like I'd forgotten something and needed to text. In the black glass, I saw the reflection of the stairwell behind me. Concrete, metal railing, my own shoulders. The reflection did not show the gray suit. But when I lowered the screen and looked, he was there, 2 stairs down, head slightly tilted, as if watching the place where I'd just been in the reflection. Not me now. The next morning, I messaged the host. "Your friend in the gray suit is committed." He wrote back, "What guy?" Later, he sent a group shot. His caption said, "Find yourself." I zoomed and found him instead. Far left, half cut off, turned toward a blank brick corner like someone had called his name from inside it. I pinched to see the mask seam, to find the elastic, the jawline where a human face ends and latex begins. The pixels broke apart, but not in the places they should. The skin under the mask didn't show edge or color change. It showed nothing at all. Like the mask wasn't on something so much as it was the something. I didn't go up on the roof for a week. The second time I did, at dusk, I propped the door with a brick, because doors closing behind you feel personal. I stood by the parapet, let the wind dry my eyes, and told myself it was a weird guy doing a bit extremely well. Then, in the building across the alley, a blank, smooth face appeared at a 5th-floor window for exactly 3 seconds, tilted, listening, and slipped out of view. Sometimes a mask is hiding a face. Sometimes a mask is what the face is. Masks make people brave. They also make them honest. But when the face under the mask looks too smooth, you start to wonder who's really pretending. I bought the doorbell camera for raccoons and left it on for Halloween because our block turns into a parade. I set a black bowl on a little table, taped a paper note, "Take 1, and angled the lens to catch it. From 6 to 9, I saw parents in coats, siblings policing greedy hands, teenagers pretending not to care. Normal. At 9:38, the porch looked empty. The motion alert pinged anyway. I scrubbed back and watched frame by frame. From the bottom edge of the shot, a pale hand slid up, palm first, like someone feeling their way from a lower step where no one stands. The fingers found the rim, stroked it, tapped the candy like they were learning the shape. The hand withdrew without taking anything. I went to the door. Peephole clear, porch still. But pressure hung on the other side of the wood, the way you feel someone near even before you hear them. I stayed where I was and listened to the house breathe until the tightness left my chest. At 10:12, a kid appeared on the feed. Werewolf mask pushed up like a headband. T-shirt in weather that demanded sleeves. No adult. He stood on the bottom step and stared past the lens like he could see through the camera and into my hallway. "Can I have one?" he asked. But his voice didn't rise like a request. It arrived like a reminder. He lifted the mask and his eyes didn't flash the way scared kids' eyes flash. They looked flat, tired. He climbed 2 steps, reached for the bowl, and a second pale hand lifted from under the table and touched the back of his fingers like a thank you. The boy didn't react. He placed 1 candy in his palm, said to no one, "You can't keep it from us," and left. At 2:14 a.m., the camera recorded a circle of masked children on the sidewalk, standing far enough from my steps to be polite. 15 seconds, 30, 3 minutes. They faced each other. Not my house. No adults. When they finally moved, they walked away without breaking the circle. In the morning, I rewatched everything with daylight logic. I told myself the hand was a neighbor bent low for a joke. The kid was a teen with a high voice. The circle was midnight weirdness. I turned the camera off for a week. The first night I turned it back on. At 9:36, the same pale hand rose from the bottom of the frame, found the edge of the table, and paused as if waiting for mine. Now I leave the bowl on the porch earlier and bring it in sooner. It doesn't matter. The hand still visits, sometimes before dark, sometimes after the light is off. It never takes more than one. It always pauses like it's remembering the bowl from the last time we did this. I used to think cameras make you safer because they turn fear into evidence. Then I learned what evidence really does. It makes you run out of ways to pretend you misread what you saw. Tricks are supposed to be funny. Cameras are supposed to make things safer. But all a camera really does is prove you didn't imagine what you saw. At 19, our Halloween tradition was petty. We'd slightly rearrange overbuilt displays, turn a skeleton to face the wall, move a spider to a stop sign, set a plastic witch riding a bike backward. Nothing broken. Harmless, we told ourselves, because we were bored, and bored people invent games. We found the house by accident. Plain stoop, no hay bales, no webs. Just one pale orange pumpkin on the top step. Its skin looked healed over, like a bruise that forgot to fade. Max said, "At least roll it." He towed it, nothing. He kicked it down the step. It bounced, rolled to the lawn, and stopped facing us. When we hit the corner and looked back, the pumpkin was back where it started. I said, "We're done." Max grinned and said, "Tomorrow it'll be jack-o'-lantern art." The next day it was. 2 oval eyes, a straight slit of a mouth with a shallow notch that made the line tilt. I touched the top. Warm. My finger came away slightly tacky, like sap. That night, a pumpkin sat against my own door. Same color, same scar top, same face. I moved it to the edge of the stoop. Morning, back by the door. I set it on the grass. Night, back by the door. The face kept changing. A longer eye, a deeper notch at the mouth. As if a patient hand made precise cuts while I slept. Max texted, "Did you leave this?" His photo showed a pumpkin on his porch carved with my tired eyes and crooked mouth. Not a caricature, not exact. Just me, enough to make my stomach drop. I wrapped mine in a towel, hauled it to the dump, and pitched it into a bin full of soft orange halves and seeds. The next morning it was waiting at my door, warm as a shoulder. I tried smashing it. The knife skated off the skin like the blade didn't want to be part of what I was doing. I gave up and let it sit. By Thanksgiving, without shrinking or rotting, it was gone. Max's vanished the same night I messaged him that I was sorry for starting the joke. I still like Halloween. I just walk past single pumpkins like they have every right to be exactly where they are. Maybe they do. Traditions are rules we make so chaos feels like a game. But some games don't stop just because you decide you're done playing. I volunteer nights at a senior apartment building. Front desk, coffee refills, door buzzes. On Halloween, the manager asked me to hand out candy in the lobby so families felt welcome. Most kids came before 9. By 10:30, the bowl was half full and the sidewalk was quiet. The door beeped. A boy walked in alone. He wore an oversized thrift store suit jacket and a brick red devil mask. No cape. No plastic pitchfork. He held a pillowcase with both hands like it was heavy or worth guarding. He didn't come to the bowl. He stood by the elevator and stared at the seam where the doors met. "You looking for someone?" I asked. He shook his head. "You live here?" He shook it again. "Want a piece?" He nodded once without turning. He pressed the button. The door opened. He stepped halfway in, then halfway out, letting it close again like he was practicing the movement. The manager stepped out of the office and gave me the look that asks a question without saying it. I made the face that answers, "I don't know yet." After a minute, the boy opened the front door, looked at the empty street, and let it shut. On the fourth try, a thin wind came in that moved the sign-in sheet but didn't touch my sleeves. He finally took a candy. He didn't drop it in the pillowcase. He slid it into his jacket pocket and patted the pocket twice. "I already came here," he said. Not to me, but to the air between us. The manager turned a monitor so I could see the lobby camera and scrubbed back. At 9:57, the same boy in the same mask walked in, stood by the elevator, opened the front door, looked out, took one candy, patted his pocket twice. He never left on camera. He was just suddenly gone. An hour later, he walked in and did it again, while I was sitting there watching the second time. At 11 o'clock, he pressed the elevator button. The doors opened. He stepped inside. The floor indicator didn't change. We used the service key to force it open. The car was empty. The lobby camera glitched for 3 seconds during the same minute. Gray snow, then normal again. And my bowl looked lighter by exactly 1 piece. "Call it," the manager said softly. I asked what it was. She just kept her eyes on the boy in the paused frame and said, "Some people are late and never catch up." I printed a still image for the file. Date, time. A kid with a devil mask turned slightly as if listening for a sister he couldn't stop expecting. In the morning, the paper had curled like it had gotten damp, though the building stayed dry all night. Every year since, at 10:30, I sit at that desk and tell myself I won't hand him one this time. Every year, At 11, the elevator opens. The car doesn't move, and my hand does. Halloween doesn't need monsters. All it takes is one familiar place deciding to act wrong. A light that stays on too long. A mask that doesn't come off. A voice that remembers your name from last year. We called them stories so we can put them down. But they don't stay where we leave them. They wait. They listen. And sometimes they come back when you do. If you've ever lived through a night that still follows you, tell me about it in the comments. Or send your confession to the vile echoes. Your story might be the next whisper someone hears in the dark. If you made it this far, don't leave just yet. Subscribe, turn on the bell, and stay with us. Because the next story might sound a little too familiar. Lock the door. Check the window once and only once. Then try to sleep. The night keeps good records, and it knows your address.